Good morning. First period Math 2. Today is Tuesday, 12:15. And today we're going to do one last lesson, really, before Christmas break. Good news and bad news. The bad news is I forgot to record this video before my surgery. So I'm up here balancing on a crutch and kind of rotating a little bit. And I'm just balancing as best I can. That's the bad news. The good news is that means I'm going to keep this lesson really short so I can sit down. Today's lesson is on solving inequalities. Solving inequalities. Let's write that down on a piece of paper. Write down the topic, solving inequalities. Now let me review what you learned yesterday. Yesterday you learned how to graph inequalities. If you're given an inequality that says x is less than 7 and you had to graph it, you would draw a number line, you would put 7 on it, put a couple numbers around it. Then, because this says less than, not less than or equal to, since it just says less than, you put an open circle at 7, and you follow this arrow. The arrow points to the left, so you draw your line going to the left, like that. So this line represents all of the numbers that are less than 7. 6 is less than 7. 5 is less than 7. 4.5 is less than 7. -20 is less than 7. So you have on this line all of the numbers less than 7. That's what we did yesterday. Today, there's going to be one added element to this. You are going to have to solve the inequality before you graph it. And guess what? Solving an inequality is almost exactly like solving an equation. Today, we're going to do addition and subtraction inequalities. So they will look like this. This is our first example. Y minus 8 equals 2. Oh, I'm sorry. Make it greater than or equal to 2. Sorry, can't really think today. Y minus 8 is greater than or equal to 2. We are going to solve and graph this inequality. We will solve this exactly like we solved equations. The only difference is we'll put this sign in the answer instead of an equal sign. So this shows the two sides of the inequality. This is the left, this is the right. They are subtracting 8, so we have to do the opposite and add 8 to both sides. The 8's cross off. You have y on the left. 2 plus 8 is 10 on the right. And you just put this sign in between them. Y is greater than or equal to 10. Then you graph your answer. You draw a number line, you put 10 on it, put a couple numbers around it. You need a closed circle because there's a line under the sign. You put a closed circle at 10, and this arrow points to the right, so that's the direction you have to go. This is what we're doing today. We're going to solve the inequality just like an equation, and then we're going to graph our answer, which we learned how to do yesterday. There is one thing that's really important that I need to tell you all. You need to listen to this. When we eventually have a test on this or a quiz, you have to write your answer as a variable, a sign, and a number. And I know some of you don't like that. When we were solving equations, a lot of you would just write that the answer is 10. And that was fine when we did equations. I was a little bit loosey-goosey when we solved equations. But when we're solving inequalities, the answer is not 10. The answer to this inequality is not the number 10. That's the wrong answer. The answer to this inequality is all of the numbers that are greater than or equal to 10. The answer to this inequality is 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 14 and a half, 14.97, 15, 1,000, 1,000,000, 1,000,000,000, positive infinity. Those are all the answers to this inequality. So you can't just write the number 10 and move on to the next problem. You have to have the variable, the sign, and the number. We can't be lazy when we're solving inequalities. Got it? Okay, let's do one more example. Let's say we have m plus 9 is greater than 0. M plus 9 is greater than 0. Before we can graph this, we have to solve it. We have to get the variable all by itself. Here's my variable. They're adding 9. I have to do the opposite and subtract 9 from both sides. The 9's cross off. I get m on the left. I get negative 9 on the right. And I can't just write this as my answer. My answer is not negative 9. My answer is all of the numbers greater than negative 9. You have to put that variable. You have to put the correct sign. You have to put the number. Then we graph it. You draw a number line, put negative 9 on it. Remember that the negative numbers count down to 0. That's why they're going negative 9, negative 8, negative 7. Whoops. Let's see. There's no line under the sign. That means I need an open circle on negative 9 and then follow this arrow to the right this way. There we go. This is how we're solving problems today. You solve it just like a one-step equation, and when you're done, you graph the answer just like we did yesterday. You now are going to work in your workbooks on page 279. Page 279, numbers 1 through 10. And because my foot is pretty tired right now, I'm not going to go over these answers. I'm going to let you guys go over them. After most people have finished the problems, I'm going to ask your substitute to have a few people come to the board and solve a few problems, and you guys can ask each other. If you got a different answer than someone else, you guys are going to work together and figure out the answers. So I'm going to let your substitute teacher take care of going over these problems because I'm just exhausted. I will see you tomorrow for a very quick video. Tomorrow's video will be super duper quick. And you guys have a great day. I love you and I miss you. Goodbye.